Okay, what's going on, everyone? Swinging Bull here with PV Alerts. Welcome to another one of my earnings stream. Today we got Nordson Corporation, and we have CAAP, C-A-A-P. So it's ticker symbol NDSN and CAAP. So just a little bit real quick about the companies for those that don't know who they are. Nordson Corp, the industry they're in. It's machinery, tools, heavy vehicles, trains, and ships. They've been listed since 1980. And they're a precision technology company. The company engineers, manufactures, and markets differentiated products and systems used for precision dispensing, applying, and controlling adhesives, coatings, polymers, sealants, biomaterials, and other fluids to test and inspect for quality, and to treat and cure services and various medical products. So a little bit about Nordson Corporation. They closed the regular session at $213.52. They were down about a little less than 2%, as was most of the market today. Just take a quick peek at SPY and QQQ. It was a nice recovery going into the close, and once it bottomed out earlier today before lunch. But it's quite the leg down today, but it did retrace back up going into the close. So market's kind of stabilizing a little bit. NDSN going into the earnings, they had a PE of 27, EPS of 7. They do pay a dividend. It's only 1.46% annual yield, but it's something. 53 million float. Let's look at the income statement. They are a profitable company. Year-over-year numbers don't look too good as far as growth goes with positive net income. But nonetheless, they are a profitable company. So look at the balance sheet. Only 51%, so that's pretty good there. They're sitting here in after hours basically flat, right where they closed at. $213.52. Let's take a look at some things. The forecast for the EPS is 2.63, and the forecast revenue is 721 million. And let me zoom out a little bit. They were trading just right around their anchored VWAP, just below 220. And I want to look at one more thing real quick. I'm going to go to tip ranks. Let's see how Nordson Corporation performed one day after their last earnings. NDSN. Okay. Oh, getting pop-ups today. All right. Let's see here. So the last earnings they had when they reported on May 28th, they were up 6.7% the next day. Went from 195 to 208. The time before that, basically flat. 3 earnings ago, when they reported on December 11th of last year, they took a little bit of a hit, down 8%. But usually, I mean, if you're looking at the past 4 earnings reactions, usually they have a positive reaction. So let's see how they react to this earnings. Let me go intraday 1 minute chart. I got Trading View pulled up here. And it's a little after 4 o'clock. And to my understanding, both these companies report at 4:30, so we got a little bit of time. Earnings Whisper says Nordson Corp reports at 4:30. And also CAAP, CAAP, stands for Corporación América Airports. That's what it stands for. Their forecast EPS is 47 cents. Forecast revenue 447.14 million. And just a little bit about the company. They're located in Luxembourg. Corporation America Airports. That's what it stands for. So industry is transport infrastructure. And they're focused on acquiring, developing, and operating airport concessions. Okay. All those shops and food places at the airports, I'm assuming. It operates approximately 52 airports globally in Latin America, Europe, and Eurasia. Eurasia, should I say. The company's airports are located in Argentina, Italy, Brazil, Uruguay, Ecuador, Armenia, and Peru. The company's Argentine provinces serves metropolitan areas in several Argentine provinces, such as Buenos Aires, Cordoba, and Mendoza, in the city of Buenos Aires. Okay, so we know a little bit about the company. Going into the earnings, nice and positive PE, trailing 12 months, 23, EPS 0.88. They do not pay a dividend. Free float's only 29 million, so it doesn't take really much to move this, I would think. Let's look at the income statement, just a quick view. They are a profitable company, but kind of the same issue as Nordson. The year-over-year numbers, at least for the past 4 earnings, aren't too good. But they're still profitable. Balance sheet, 63%, so that's good. How much cash they got? Okay, cash and equivalents, over $500 million. So that's pretty healthy. How much cash does Nordson have? Let me see. Nordson cash and equivalents, 130 million. CAAP has more cash and equivalents than Nordson. Very interesting. All right, not getting any movement really on either one of these. I mean, Nordson's down a little bit, but kind of was trading on low volume today. Average volume over 3 months, 390,000. I had 522,000 volume today, so a little bit more than average, but still low overall. Same thing with CAAP. Average volume over 3 months, only 111,000. Volume today, 120,000. Not really much extra volume with earnings on deck here. They get a positive reaction to earnings. I'm looking at resistance, probably $22. See if they can get over that. If they get a negative reaction, I'd probably put the support right below these lows right here, around $19. So support 1 or S1 on CAAP. If they get a negative reaction, $19. Resistance, a level that I would like to see them break. If they get a positive reaction, I'll put that right at $22 a share. So let's see what they end up, what the price ends up doing. For Nordson, just look at the daily chart right here. If they get a positive reaction, I'd be looking for 225 to get taken out. Negative reaction, probably around 20. Yeah, I'd probably put that around 206 for support 1. If they get a negative reaction, I'd like to see 206 hold. And they pay a dividend, looks like quarterly. So every 3 months. Looks like it's 78 cents a share. So for you dividend hunters out there. Let me check my other screen. It's almost 410. 410 Eastern. Okay, so for Nordson, investors are expecting 721 million for revenue and 2.63 EPS. They did have a modest Q2 beat. Track record, just a little bit about Nordson. I know someone on YouTube was asking. In the past 9 quarters, they've had 7 beats. So 7 beats in the last 9 quarters. And they did have a big surprise, 8.3% surprise for Q1 of 2024, and a 7.3% surprise in Q4 of 2024. So investors for Nordson, let me go back intraday here on the candlesticks. But what investors are looking for on Nordson, they want to see a backlog in order strength in high margin segments. So that's a key watch for Nordson. So looking for backlog and order strength in high margin sectors or segments, excuse me. And we already went over the forecast, but I'll just show this little graphic here. So again, EPS 2.64, revenue a little less than 724 million. So we'll see what they end up reporting. If they're reporting at 4:30, we still got about 20 more minutes. So let me just see if I can get any other info to give everyone prior to their earnings releasing. Getting a little bit of volatility on CAAP, just a little bit. Again, trading on low volume, so. The implied move for Nordson. Anyone was wondering about the implied move? It's about 5.7% on Nordson. So you got to figure the closed regular session around 213. It's 5.7% of that. So probably like a $12 move, maybe. It's kind of what's getting priced in. $12 up or down. And that resistance I was talking about around 225, 226. That kind of lines up with the implied move. So if it gets a positive reaction, we'll see, maybe see that level get tested, see if it can break through or not, and let level to the downside. Again, I had around 206. Implied move would put it closer to 200. There is a gap on the downside that hasn't been resolved yet. Just something to keep your eye out on for the Nordson traders and investors. That gap, if it gets filled, brings the price down to 198. So if they get a negative reaction, just keep in mind they got that unresolved price action down here with that gap. Okay, we're still waiting on the earnings data. And for CAAP, let me see here. Let me go back a few screens. All right. What I'm gonna do? So yeah, it is. I did confirm Nordson earnings is at 4:30. Okay, CAAP is also at 4:30. So I did confirm that. All times are Eastern. And there were some other companies reporting today. We can kind of just look at those real quick. Here we go. Wednesday after the close. So we got Cody. I've traded that before. COTY. You got Ascentage. AAPG is the ticker symbol on that. Telex, which is TLX, and Unify, which is ticker symbol UFI. So those are some of the other ones that are reporting after the close today. Tomorrow should be pretty fun. Zoom is going to be reporting tomorrow. I know Zoom, they were obviously a big hit when everyone got locked in their houses for COVID. But, they just didn't have a moat. There's tons of other companies that kind of just copied their business model. So you can probably clearly see that on Zoom's chart. Just pull up, like the weekly chart or something. And yeah, there you go here. So here's COVID, right? Zoom went all the way to $588. But again, they didn't have a moat. And if they don't have a moat, they're not really protected. And now you got all these other companies with similar businesses like Zoom. So, I don't know if Zoom will ever get back up this high. Probably not. It would take some innovation on their part. Maybe develop some sort of new product or service that might have a moat or something. But they got to start innovating if they ever want to get back up here to, in the hundreds again. But they obviously fell off a cliff because a lot of other companies basically just took their business model. And sometimes, of course, you got the Google Meet now and all that. And I mean, it's just, they lost a lot of business because of it. But it should be interesting to see their earnings and see what the upper management and CEO, if they do have any plans for the future as far as innovation goes and research and development. They need something new that not everyone else has. And maybe they can get some legs on it and the stock will go somewhere. But right now they're trading in the 70s, kind of in a little range. Like 65 to like upper 80s. They've been trading in that little range there for I'd say since last year. This is the weekly chart. So late last year is when they started ranging there. Let me go back to CAAP and just see what's going on here. Almost 415. So I don't got any movement on Nordson or CAAP, but again, their data doesn't come out for another 15 minutes. So what I think I'm gonna do is go over some of the previous trades, or some. How about this? I'll go over some of my open trades. Obviously, the market pulled back this morning. It recovered quite nicely, though. Like I said, going into the close, and after it bottomed out this morning, right before lunchtime, it's a nice trend up if you took calls and followed it back up. But let me pull up my Fidelity account. I just want to be fully transparent and give everyone an update what's going on with some of my trades. So give me 1 second. Let me log into that. And then by the time I get done going over some of these trades, we'll probably have the earnings data for Nordson and CAAP. All right, give me 1 sec here. All right, let's take a look at what we got. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, that's good. Give me 1 sec, y'all. I'm gonna move my screen over. Just blow this up so everyone can see it. Okay, so here's some of my open positions. I did open a cash trade put on bull. It did go against me a little bit. I did get $41 a contract. And if we look at the price of bull, let me take a look. Okay, it's trading in the $14.30 area. They kind of took a hit today with everything else, and looks like they bottomed out when the markets bottomed out. They didn't have quite the recovery as the indexes did, but nonetheless, it bottomed out, and now it's kind of trading sideways. So if we have a bullish day tomorrow or Friday, this should recover quite well, I would think. And also, if I get assigned at 15, let me just do the math for everyone real quick, because the expiration date on this is this Friday. But if I get assigned at 15, don't forget I collected a $41 credit on this contract. So my technical cost basis is only going to be 15 minus 0.41. So my technical cost basis is only going to be $14.59 if I get assigned at 15. So, if that's the case on Friday, if bull can't, and bull, this is Webull, right? And I'm actually charting on Webull right now. So I'm trading Webull, ticker symbol bull, B-U-L-L. And the expiration date's Friday. So if bull can't get back over 15 by Friday, that's okay. I'll get assigned shares. I'll have a cost basis of 14.59, which is not too far. The price isn't too far below what my average would be. And so what am I going to do if I get shares? Well, I'm going to sell some covered calls. And don't forget, bull has earnings in 8 days, August 28th. So next Thursday, bull does have earnings. So what I think I'm going to probably do, if I get assigned on Friday, probably on Monday, I'll sell some covered calls. And I think what I might do is maybe just put a collar on it. So I'll sell some covered calls. I'll take some of the credit that I received from the covered calls, and I'll use that to buy maybe a put option to hedge my downside. That's something you could do. If you're a little more risk adverse, you could sell the covered call. That would be a little bit of a downside hedge. And then maybe just go with that, because you got to think, if I sell this $15 covered call, okay, and the last sale was $123, if I sell that covered call, and going into that covered call, my cost basis was 14.59. If I collect $123 on that covered call, that's going to reduce my cost basis by $1.23 per share. So 14.59 minus the $1.23, if that's how much money I end up getting for it, you know, just deploying that covered call is gonna reduce my cost basis down to the low 13. So just selling the covered call in itself will give you some downside protection and some more cushion. If bull has a negative reaction, you know, at least our cost basis will be way down here in the low 13. So that gives us a little bit of cushion. So that could be like a partial hedge in itself. It won't fully hedge you, but you'll be hedged down to 13.36 a share because that's what your new cost basis will be. If you want to fully hedge the downside, then sell the covered call for $123, and then you could use some of that $123 premium, and maybe you could and you know, you could use it to buy maybe this $13 put, which only costs $90. So that wouldn't be bad, and you would still walk away with extra money on the covered call, because if you get $123 for the covered call and you use 90 of it to buy this $13 put, then 123 minus 90, so you'll still have $33 profit on the covered call if there's a negative reaction, but then you'll be hedged on the downside. You'll be fully protected. If it drops below $13, you won't participate in any of that downside because you'll have the naked put option. It'll cap your downside just through intrinsic value with the strike price of 13. And the cost, you know, don't worry about what your break even is on the $13 naked put, because you technically didn't use your own money to pay for it. So you will be hedged at 13. The $90 you used to pay for it, you took out of the credit that you received when you sold the covered call, when I go to sell the $15 covered call. So I will be hedged at 13. And so just kind of give some scenarios on how you can hedge yourself going into earnings, because, you know, no one likes to go into an earnings announcement when you're currently long shares and you're just going to do nothing about it. That's not very smart, or that's not very you know, that's not protecting yourself, I guess, is how I would put it. You know, and I see that all the time. People are long on a stock. They just sit on their hands through the earnings, and meanwhile they're long on all these shares, and could be several $1,000, who knows, you know, and they don't do nothing. It's like, you know, do you want to survive in this game or not? You know, if you want to make this a business and survive for years and years to come. I've been trading for about 10 years now, but you know, you got to start protecting yourself. If you're not protecting yourself, you might as well just go to the damn casino, red or black, and you know, you might even have better odds. If you're not protecting yourself, you might have a better shot at the casino. I'm just being honest. Everyone in the Discord knows me. I don't sugarcoat nothing. You know, I'm not over here tooting people's horn. You know, I'm here to give people the raw truth. You know, and if you don't start protecting yourself, you're not gonna be around for a while. You're gonna wash out, and then you got to go back to your 9 to 5 and work for the system instead of, you know, let's get everyone to some sort of financial independence of some sort. But if you're not hedging your downside through an earnings report, I can show you how to do it. You know, and then once you know how to do it, if you're still not doing it after you already know how to do it, then that's a problem within yourself. You know, there's something going on with yourself you got to work out. You know, got to maybe be a little bit more responsible with your hard-earned money. You know, so that's just kind of the role I play in the Discord. Is I want people to be successful. I want people to survive and treat this, and not only survive but thrive, and treat it like a business. Account for every dollar, And then after a little bit of time, things start getting a little better for you. You know, your portfolio is going to thank you. So, you know, if there's anything I can say or show someone that helps them, or maybe just confirm something they were already thinking, or, you know, then I feel good. I feel good, you know. So anyway, still waiting on a reaction on Nordson. So I'll keep going over some of my other positions, but let me just check CAAP one more time. It's 425, so we'll get these earnings reactions in about 5 minutes. Get these earnings reactions in about 5 minutes. So what happened to my other page? Oh yeah, move this back over. So, you know, with Bull, you know, if I get assigned on Friday, I don't care, because I'll sell some covered calls, and I would have managed, once I get to the covered call side, I would have basically reduced my cost basis from a $15 assignment all the way to low $13 without using any additional capital. I mean, tell me that's awesome, right? That's a beautiful thing there. So that's the plan on Bull. I'm sitting here at 14.40 now in after hours. Like I say, that it could get back over 15 pretty easily. I mean, got 2 days to find out, so that's what's going on with that position. If it does get back over 15, then I'll deploy some more cash secured puts. Probably go 2 weeks out for those things, but maybe I'll get an opportunity. You know, if it does get back over 15, I'll take the win, and then maybe you know, maybe I'll reduce my short strike down a strike or two and play it a little bit safer on the next round. But I definitely got a plan, and I know exactly what I'm going to do, depending on what ends up happening, and I'm fully prepared. Okay, so let's talk about the next. We got a few more minutes to kill here. So the other position I had was this Ford trade. I ended up purchasing shares of Ford before August 11th so I could get their dividend. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep the shares and start rinse and repeating covered calls. And that's what I've been doing on Ford. This is my second round of covered calls on Ford. And got $15 to contract on this round. Now, I am showing a little bit of drawdown on the position, but if you're a fellow contract writer like myself, you know we're not too concerned about a little drawdown here and there. Okay, it's just part of the game. We see drawdown. I would never realize any of this drawdown because I fully intend just to will my way out of it. So I'm just gonna keep collecting income on the covered call side until my shares eventually do get called away. And as of today, Ford was above, yeah, it was above 1150 earlier today. Now it's trading right at 1150 right now, so that's funny. So, you know, only two things can happen when we write contracts. Is Ford going to be above 1150 or below 1150? Well, and this expires August 29th, so that's next Friday. I don't even have a long time to wait for that either. So if Ford's above 1150, fine. When I wrote this covered call, I already agreed to sell my shares at 1150. All right. So now I get that a lot too. And I'm not trying to sound mean or anything. Just sometimes I got to give tough love, you know, and I see that a lot too. People open up covered calls to get the income and to help reduce their cost basis. And then the underlying stock rallies, and then they're bitching and complaining that their covered call is red. Listen, when the red that you're seeing on your covered call, as long as you don't buy it back to close it, you're never going to realize that. You should be okay with your shares getting called away at that strike price when you open the covered call. You can't open the covered call and then bitch about it later. Okay? You kind of gotta be okay with it. That's what you signed up for when you wrote the covered call. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, an experience of writing contracts to get yourself in the right mindset you need to be in. I've been doing it for so long that when I see drawdown, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I already agreed for my shares to get called away at 1150. And if my shares get called away at 1150, it's a profitable trade. You should be happy. You know, you should be happy that, hey, I agreed to sell them at 11.50. If Ford wants to go over 11.50 and my shares get called, it's a good thing because you just profited. It's a profitable trade. So why would you put yourself in a negative mindset? Oh, you know, why did I write that covered call, or second guessing yourself? When all actuality, it's going to be a profitable trade if your shares get called. So why are you thinking negatively? You're sabotaging your own mindset for no reason at all. Okay. So when you write contracts, you should be okay with possible scenario. And that could be your shares getting called. If Ford is below 11.50 by next Friday, it's only 9 more calendar days. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to sell another covered call. And the 11.50s for September 19th are going for over $35 a pop right now. So I'll sell 2 more and collect another $70. You know, my cost basis on Ford is going to be $9-10 here soon. You know, keep rinsing and repeating these things. Let me go back to the sticks here because Nordson just had some volatility. It wicked up to $225 a share to the penny. So their data must be out. It is 4:31. All right. So their data came out like a minute ago. So let me just take a peek here at my other monitor. See if we got some EPS and revenue. And I'd be more than happy to share that with everybody. I love the earnings correspondent. Go follow them on X if you haven't already. They're always so good about getting. They produce these nice graphics for everyone, and it's just very easy to read and understand. And we got year-over-year numbers, quarter-over-quarter numbers. But shout out to the earnings correspondent if you're listening. Okay, so just a little summary of their Nordson's earnings. Let's see if I can move this over a little bit so we can see the price. There we go. So their forecast EPS was 2.64. They just reported 2.73. So they beat that. Revenue forecast was almost 724 million is what we were expecting. 723.57 million to be exact. They just reported 741.5 million. So they beat that. So double beat on Nordson. And again, Nordson, they're in machinery, tools, heavy vehicles, trains, and ships. Big company. It's the reason why they're trading in the 200s. Okay. Year-over-year numbers, EPS and revenue, both up double digits. That's good growth year-over-year. Quarter-over-quarter, EPS up 13%, revenue up 9%. Well, so far, it's getting a positive reaction. And remember, the expected move on this one was, I think it was like $12 or $13. It was like 5 or 6%. Do the math on that. But it's kind of funny. It wicked up to this 225. That was that level on that date on the bigger time frame we were talking about when I was first doing the stream here. You could see it's kind of topped out a few times around the mid 220s. So that's just obvious level of interest there. And intraday, after hour candles, it literally hit mid 220s to the T, to the penny, and got rejected. So I kind of figured that would be a level that would need to contend with. So that's still going to be my R1, my resistance one, mid 220s. If Nordson can break through that, this thing's going to be on the way. Because if you pull up the weekly chart, this thing has been quite a bit higher. It's been in the 275. Hit a little shy of that. 274.76 looks like the all-time high. Let me pull up the monthly chart to make sure. Yeah. But you know, if you can get through the look at these wicks on the monthly chart. Tell me mid 220s is not a level of interest. Look at those wicks. It's like sellers are just sitting up there waiting. That is supply. That is a level of supply, mid 220s, right around 225. 3 months in a row, it tried to take that level out. And just supply zone, sellers up there waiting, boom. Okay. So if it can breach the mid 220s, just call it 225 is fine. You can see it's got some room to run back up. It could be headed to the 250s if it can do that. That's what I see, because you can see the sheer selling it had here. This was towards the end of the year last year. Same amount of force it sold off, it could easily pop back up like a magnet and retrace that. That was only 2 days of selling. So mid 220s get broke. This thing's probably be in 240s and plus before you know it. So that's kind of what I see there. Let me go back intraday. Okay, it's still holding up. Let's trade just below 220. Let me move this graphic back out of the way. All right. Maybe I'll have time to go over this mirror trade. I'm kind of sitting at break even on that one, but if I got a little bit more time, I'll talk about that one. But let me go back here. Okay. Just want to see if I can get some commentary from the upper management of Nordson. Always curious what the CEO and upper management, CFO, have to say and things of that nature. All right, let's take a look. See if I can fit all this on the bottom of my screen. Let me pop open a notepad real quick. Give me 1 second, because I want to put their earnings data on the bottom of my screen for everybody. Let's see if I can fit all this in one post and see if it comes out clear. There we go. Okay, I was able to fit it all on one. Okay, so there's your results for Nordson. Double beat. Still no move. Well, let me go back to CAAP. Let's see if CAAP did anything. Okay, CAAP's getting the move here. They're up over 5%. They closed the regular session at 20.81. They're sitting at 22 bucks right now, up $1.19 a share. Let's see what they got. So we got Nordson. Nordson just retraced all the way back down. Keep your eye on it. Let's see if this is just a temporary pullback here, but the earnings data doesn't look bad at all. It looks good. Okay, let me double check CAAP. Okay, getting a lot of chatter here. CAAP had a nice beat. Second quarter results. I might just pull it from the investor relations page, to be honest with you. So they did announce an amazing quarter. They reported 16% year-over-year traffic growth in May. That's nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go to their investor relations page and get their EPS and revenue on that. Okay, being redirected here. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, here it is here. I'm just going to take this right from the horse's mouth. This is regarding CAAP on the right side of my screen. So this was just released about 7 minutes ago. This is straight from, this article from, let me just read this out loud. Solid traffic performance drove double-digit revenue growth. Argentina delivered second quarter record passenger traffic, with international traffic up 18.5% year over year. That's solid. They got almost $500 million in cash and equivalents. I think that was similar to what we had saw before on the balance sheet. Okay, it came down a little bit. End of March of this year, they reported 523 million cash and equivalents, and now they still have, they're saying 497 million, still a solid cash position for sure. So Corporación América Airports, one of the leading private airport operators in the world. So that's their deal. They're private airport operators. And let's see, financial results are expressed in millions, of course. Okay, commencing Q3 2018, the company began reporting results of its Argentinian subsidiaries. All right, here we go. Let's talk about some of the highlights. Second quarter highlights. Let me go back to the sticks too on the right so we can keep our eye on it. Okay, let's take a look. Consolidated revenues totaled $435 million. That, again, up 18.9% year over year, driven by increases of 22% and 15% in commercial and aeronautical revenues. Key operating metrics: 13.7% increase in passenger traffic to 20.7 million passengers. 2.2% increase in cargo volume, 97,000 tons. 10.2% increase in aircraft movements. Operating income of $117.3 million compared to $92.9 million same time last year. So operating income has gone up. Strong liquidity position with cash and cash equivalents. We just went over that, almost $500 million. Good. So here's some commentary from the CEO, then we'll wrap this up. Commenting on the results for the quarter, Mr. Martin, he's Martin Yernekian. I hope I pronounced that right. CEO of CAAP. We delivered a strong second quarter with broad-based traffic growth, double-digit increases in revenue and EBITDA, and meaningful EBIT margin expansion, reflecting the strength of our diversified portfolio and disciplined execution. Total traffic increased nearly 14% year over year. We already went over that, reaching close to 21 million passengers. Okay, so he's just kind of the highlights that were pulled from his message, basically. So Argentina led the performance, reaching a second quarter record with double-digit increase in both international and domestic travel, supported by sustained demand recovery and multiple route additions. And Brazil delivered double-digit growth as well. So yeah, just some highlights about their earnings. Price not really moving too much. I'm personally more interested in Nordson. And they had initial positive reaction. They came up to that resistance level we were talking about from the bigger time frames. Totally got rejected. It's like there's just sellers sitting up there waiting at 225. So just be careful of that level. If you're long, could be good profit-taking level, not financial advice, but hey. So initial positive reaction, it did almost retrace 100%, but now it's on its way back up. So maybe this could be like a small higher low forming or something. We'll take a look. There is a sell side imbalance on the order book right now, but that's okay. There are still buying or buy orders coming in on the tape. So keep your eye on it. See if it makes some higher lows. And again, going in, if it can sustain up here, right, trading just below 220, going into tomorrow, as long as we don't have some market-wide sell-off or something, look for the mid 220s. That 225 area is what I'm going to be eyeing tomorrow if it can hold up here. But yeah, that's really all I got for today. Not too exciting. We got some bigger names reporting tomorrow, so tomorrow should be a little bit more engaging and more exciting. But yeah, I feel like this was a good session. Kind of went into a little bit of a deep dive on some of my open positions and some of the scenarios that can happen with those open positions and what I'm going to do depending on what scenario happens. So I had fun talking about all of that with everybody. But again, my name's The Swinging Bull. My real name is Benjamin. Most people call me Ben. But on the Discord, I go by Swinging Bull. I'm with PB Alerts. If you want to come hang out, there's some links in the description. You can even join our Discord for free. And if you do, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. Maybe we can talk for a little bit, and maybe there's something I can help you with right away. You know, who knows? But yeah, other than that, Swinging Bull, PB Alerts. Hope everyone enjoys the content. If you do enjoy the content, feel free to give me a follow on X. Trying to build my X presence up, if you will. But yeah, give me a follow. I'm just started some account challenges, some smaller account challenges that people can follow. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream, and I'll see everyone in the very next video. Cheers and have a good night. Bye.